Welcome to another monthly reset. It is time to get reset for March. We're going to be structuring this video pretty much like we did the last one in January. I'm going to share my reflections with you guys. I'm going to share my daily stats that I keep track of on my Notion page. We're going to talk about my goals from last month, my goals for the next month. We're going to go over some favorites, and then we're going to do a little reading recap at the end. Diving into my reflections for the month, I do feel a lot more confident in the effort that I put forward towards my goals this month than I did last month. If you were here for my January reset, you know that I kind of messed up January and we did not really make a lot of progress towards our goals, but I feel like February was better. I still definitely had moments where I wasn't putting in 100% effort. I still slept in some days after Brandon left for work, and there were definitely still moments where I feel like I wasn't putting in my full effort when I could have been. I wasn't consistent like throughout the entire month. Like, I do have a lot of work that I'm like pushing to get done right now towards the end of the month, so I wish that I had spread out like content creation a little bit more. And then short form content, you guys know that this has been a struggle for me for such a long time, and I didn't meet the mark again. I did not meet the mark again. I did not push out the amount of content that I wanted to. I only posted one short form video. I am so incredibly proud of how that video turned out, and I want all of my other short form content to be like that video, but I only filmed one, and I don't know. We'll get into it, but I don't know what to do, guys. There's just not enough time in the day, and I know that that's just an excuse, and I know that if I structure things better or something, I don't know, if I just put in more effort, I would be able to actually achieve my goals there, but it just feels like I don't have time. That's kind of how February went. We'll get into the stats. Let's look at the stats. Okay, let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, so this template will be linked in the description if you guys are interested, but this is how I track my daily stats, which I did mention in last month's video that I did want to switch up some of the things that I was tracking, and I did do that. I'm no longer tracking the content that I'm posting. I'm tracking that within my content planner. I can look at that on a monthly calendar basis, which is just a little bit more helpful than just like check marks. So working out, I was pretty consistent. I did get, let's see, 4 days here, 4 days here, 5 days here, 4 days here. So I did hit my 4 to 5 workouts per week, and I am so incredibly proud of myself for upping my average steps per day. If you guys remember from January, my steps were kind of atrocious. I can't remember specifically what they were, but I know that it was really, really low, and I did get my average back up to 9,058. My goal was 8,000, so I'm so proud of myself for getting more steps in. And pretty much the only steps that I have been getting in have been at my workouts when I warm up and then cool down after my workouts in the gym, and then an outdoor walk that only lasts about 20 to 25 minutes. And that was enough to push my daily steps up around 9,000. You will see some days here that I didn't get as many. Like here on this Sunday, I only got 1,481. But then there were some days that I got a lot more, like 12,000. So it averaged out to a really good, healthy amount, and I'm really proud of myself for that. Even when I got those lower steps the next day, I was able to make up for that without like getting down in the dumps on myself about not hitting the mark that day. So I am tracking my outdoor workouts. I have been really consistent with that over the past few weeks. And then journaling is also another thing that I wanted to keep track of. I'm obviously not the most consistent. You can see I started tracking that around, like, I think it was like around here that I started tracking that. So I haven't been the most consistent with that, but it's just something that I'm trying to be more consistent with. And then reading, I've consistently read every single day, and we'll dive into some of the books that I did read this month at the end of this video. Going into my February goals, like I said, I did get my average of 8,000 steps per day. Yay me. And then gained 25 followers on Instagram. I didn't freaking do this. Short form, I don't know freaking what to do for that, so here we go. Okay, reach out to list of brands. I did put together my media kit, and I did reach out to only one brand, but it's a brand that I really want to work with on Lemonade. I just feel like it would just be so incredibly authentic and just great to work with the particular brand that I reached out to. I need to do more of this. We'll talk about that for my March goals, but I did at least come up with a media kit and reach out to a brand. I just need to do more of it. And then save $500. We actually saved $1,500. I did have some money left over from the savings I had put aside for taxes, so we were able to save a little bit more. Order a lapel mic. Brandon actually ordered it for me because I had one in the Amazon cart and didn't freaking order it because I procrastinate buying things. Start Friendship Challenge. That's the video series that I am creating on Instagram, and I also posted it to YouTube Shorts. I created one video for that. You know, maybe February wasn't the best month. No, it was good. It was good. It just wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. And then read 4 books or 1,200 pages. We'll talk about that with my reading recap, but I did get my 1,200 page count met. I just did not finish 4 books. So those are my February goals. I only missed the mark on 1, so I guess it's good. So I should feel good about the month. I just wish I had done better. It's never good enough. It never feels like it's good enough, which I know is so bad, but I feel like some of you can probably relate to that. It doesn't matter if you reach all your goals or not. It's never good enough. Anyways, moving on to my March goals. I want to sign a brand deal. I don't care if it's gifted. I don't care if it's paid. I don't care if it's $1. I just want to sign a brand deal. I haven't signed a brand deal yet. I want to sign a brand deal. I'm manifesting the hell out of it. I should probably manifest a better brand deal than what I just manifested with my words. We're manifesting it. I'm reaching out to some more brands. Even if they don't respond, I'm gonna just, I don't know, keep trying. If you guys have any advice on how to get brand deals, let me know. I know I don't have the biggest following here on YouTube, but like, I feel like someone would want to work with me on Lemonade, but I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. And then open a high interest savings account and personal investment account. I have a 401k from a previous job that I really need to roll over into something. And I would love for Brandon and I to put the savings we're putting for our down payment for our house in a high interest savings account along with our emergency fund. So I want to actually make that a priority this month and do those things. I know I'm 28 years old and I should already have done those things, but I haven't. So if you can relate, here's your reminder that you should probably do those things. And then only sleep in once a week. If you watched my building a routine video, you know that this is one of the things that I struggle with sticking to my routine is Brandon leaves for work in the mornings around 6:30 and then I fall asleep on the couch for like an hour. And with everything that I have to get done in a day, that is just not working. I need to not do that. And then save $1,000. That's just going to our down payment for a house. That should be, I looked at the budget and I'm pretty sure that we should be able to do that. And then film 4 more videos for my friendship challenge. I don't know. Hold me accountable. I don't know. I feel like I just keep making excuses for my short form content, and this is a theme. By the end of the year, I'm going to figure out how to make short form content more of a priority by the end of the year. Hold me accountable, guys. I'm sick of my bullcrap. Do you guys ever just feel that way? You're just sick of your own bullcrap? Like, I'm sick of my bullcrap. My reading goal, staying consistent throughout the year, and then an average of 8,500 steps. Yes, I got 9,000 this month, but I don't want to like freak myself out too much, so we're just going for 8,500 steps. I need to just remind myself that it's only February. Like, it's only February. It's almost March. We're not even through the first quarter of the year. There is still time. There is still time. Okay, I want to talk about favorites, but let's go do it somewhere else. I will be honest with you guys, I'm the worst influencer in the entire world because I don't really have a whole lot of favorites or interesting things because I didn't honestly buy like anything this month. I think my only Amazon purchase was batteries for my camera because I accidentally washed one of my batteries in the washer. And that honestly was kind of it. I do have 1 product and 2 like media recommendations for you guys. So the 1 product, and I am literally the latest to the game in the entire world on this, but is Chicago style sourdough bread. And obviously I know everyone was obsessed with sourdough bread back at the beginning of the pandemic and everybody started making it at home, but like I'm apparently really late to the game because like I didn't realize that sourdough bread was as good as it is until Brandon and I were making French toast, and I got this sourdough bread from Meyer. The like brand name is Ace, but I got it at Meyer, and it is so good. I'm obsessed with it. It's like artisan style. Oh my god, it's literally just like so deliciously crunchy on the outside and like just deliciously soft on the inside, and I'm just so obsessed with it. So good. So if you've never like, I don't know, I'm probably the only person in the entire world that has never tried sourdough bread. Try the specific brand, find it somewhere. It's so good. So good. And then the next thing is a YouTube channel that Brandon and I have been obsessed with, and it is Caleb Hammer, specifically his financial audits. So he's kind of like the tough love money guy, kind of like Dave Ramsey, but in a much more not one size fits all kind of format. He essentially sits down with like individuals and takes a look at all of like the debt that they have and their spending and their credit card purchases and their debit card purchases and everything, like gets the whole financial picture and then creates a budget for them based on their lifestyle, based on where they live, how much they pay for rent, all of that stuff. And I'm just kind of obsessed with it. And I will admit, he is kind of mean. So like, if you're not the tough love kind of person, might not be the best for you, but I don't know, we've just been obsessed with him. I just think that his heart is really in the right place, and I don't know, he's just good. He's good. I love it. And then this is a potential favorite is Avatar: The Last Airbender that Netflix just came out with. So Avatar is obviously like a kid's show that was on Nickelodeon when we were like growing up, and Brandon introduced it to me and I was obsessed with it, and Netflix just came out with a live action version of it, and we've only watched one episode, but I think it's gonna be really, really good. And I would definitely recommend it even after just watching one episode if you watched the original Avatar: The Last Airbender like cartoon. So good. Kind of a nerdy side of me, but there it is. So those are my only favorites for the month. Not over here spending a lot of money or anything, so kind of boring, but it is what it is, right? I'm feeling very winded right now, but we're just gonna go through the books that I read for the month as well. The first book was Ruthless Vows. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals by, what is her name? Rebecca Ross. I think I rated the first book like 3.5 or 4 stars. It was a really good book. I enjoyed it a lot. The second book, I will say, I think I'm gonna give it a lower rating. I think I'm only gonna give it 3 stars because it was just a lot. Like it was, I don't want to give any spoilers for the first book, but the two main characters get separated at the end of the first book, and they remain separated for a good chunk, almost the entirety of the second book. And it's just really, really sad. And I like a high stakes kind of book, but this was just like really high stakes the entire time. And I just feel like it was like max anxiety the entire book. And maybe that was just like the way I was feeling when I was reading it. And I therefore didn't really want to be reading a book like that, but it was a lot. I will say it is a book written about war. So I think that like I understand why it was as hard to read as it was. Obviously it's fantasy, but it was based on like World War II or World War I. I think it was based on World War I. One of the world wars. So like I understand where Rebecca Ross is coming from in writing it that way, because like I really did feel the high stakes, the just awfulness of war. Again, obviously it's fiction, but it really just, it was a lot for me. So I'm gonna rate it 3 stars just because I would have liked for there to have been a few more happy moments, because it was just very, very dark, very, very depressing, very, very high stakes the entire time. And then I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, and I'm late to the game on this book for sure, but I read this book in less than 24 hours. Like I was so incredibly hooked, and I'm not gonna like rate this book because it is a memoir, and like I don't want to rate memoirs because I don't want to feel like I'm like rating the person's life. Jeanette McCurdy lived such an incredibly hard and challenging life, but as someone who has struggled with eating disorders in the past, I so much connected to so much of what she had to say. Obviously, I had a million times better relationship with my mother than she did with her mother because my mother is not crazy. Yeah, it was a lot. It was definitely a hard book to read. I would definitely read any trigger warnings before diving into it if you think that something in the book might affect you. because it was very dark, but it was so incredibly well written. Like, taking Jeanette McCurdy's life kind of like out of it, I think that her writing was just so incredibly good, and I think that's why I was so incredibly hooked. Like, it was definitely a moments where you cry and moments where you laugh kind of book. I think I did both of those things while I was reading it. So it was very good. Highly, highly recommend. And I'm currently 90% of the way done with Iron Flame, which is the sequel to Fourth Wing, which was not my favorite book in the world. I think I originally rated that book 3 stars, but I then lowered it to 2 stars just because it was just not for me. It was not for me, but the end of it was good enough that I wanted to read the second book, so that is currently what I'm reading. I'm 90% of the way done with it, so I think I can say that I'm going to rate it 3 stars. I'm definitely more invested in the characters now, and I think the world building in this book is significantly better than the first. I'm really sorry about the lighting right now. It's going in and out, so just deal with it. So I do feel like the world building is so much better in this book. There are a lot of moments where, especially in the action scenes, I'm a little bit like lost. Like, I'm a little confused as to like what's exactly going on. And there's some different like elements of like the world that I'm like, what? I'm like kind of confused, which is maybe me just like being stupid or like reading it too quickly. One of my issues with the first book was there's just a lot of conversations that happen over and over again. And I kind of have the same critique about this book. I understand that in relationships you have to have the same conversation over and over again, and that's just kind of the way that relationships are. But as a reader, I don't really know if I need to hear those arguments over and over again. You know what I mean? Those are my books that I've read. Didn't get to my 4th book. There is still hope for me to finish it because I do think I will be finishing Iron Flame sometime this weekend, and then maybe I can finish another book before the end of the month, but I did get to my pages read that I wanted to for the month, so proud about that. Have been enjoying my little reading habit. It's such a good way to unwind and relax. So those are my favorites and my books of the month, and therefore we have made it to the end of this video. So thank you so much for chatting with me and having this little monthly reset. I hope it was helpful. If there's any other elements you would like me to include or dive into in a little bit more depth, please let me know. I want these videos to be as helpful as they can be for you guys, as well as entertaining. So hopefully this video was that. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.